Happy Spookies, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. And really quick, I just want to go ahead and talk about a movie I just literally finished watching. I turned on the camera. I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and make a video. I don't have too many notes. I'm going to try to go off the top of my head or just a few things that I have written down in my notebook. Now, if you can't already tell, we're going to go ahead and talk about Brian De Palma's The Fury, which came out in 1978. It stars Kirk Douglas as Peter, John Cassavetes as Childress, Amy Irvin as Gillian, and Carrie Snodgrass as Hester. If we go into huge spoilers, like regarding the end or anything, of course I'm going to go ahead and throw a little warning out there. But essentially we have Kirk Douglas and his son out in the Middle East one day. They're just enjoying, it's probably like a vacation or something like that. We don't have too much information off the bat. And out of nowhere, just freaking like boat full of like these like terrorist looking dudes just come up and start shooting the entire beach. It was actually pretty jaw dropping. And there was a few moments as well later on that just left my jaw dropping. I'm not joking. This was I don't know, some people might say it's not that crazy of a movie. I thought it was buck wild. I could, especially near we're going to get too ahead of ourselves, but yes, all these people just get shot up out of nowhere. It's freaking crazy. Especially, like, that imagery alone is scary, to be honest. And Kirk Douglas can't seem to find his son anywhere. He's kind of left for dead right there, and he ends up, but he does see somebody in the distance that he looks familiar to him, and he ends up like shooting, like grabbing a gun and shooting back, but he's basically left for dead there. And I think a year or so passes by where his son was taken away by this, like, let's read the IMDb here. A former CIA agent uses the talents of a young psychic to help retrieve his telekinetic sons from terrorists who want to use his mental powers for evil. Now, what's funny about the IMDb, because the terrorist is actually I believe, American government agency, like some like secretive agency that's like basically taking psychic people, or like for instance Robin, and training them and trying to just get them to use their powers for their own benefit. They even like say later on, you know, Russia doesn't have one, China doesn't have one, referring to like some sort of psychic weapon, i.e. being Robin. I just think it's kind of funny that it says this from an evil terrorist, but it's actually the government. So yeah, a year or so passes by, and then we have Kirk Douglas, who's basically running from these people that are after him because they need him to be dead. They don't want him to be alive for whatever reason. And he's just looking for his son. I thought Kirk Douglas fucking killed it in this. Holy hell. The very beginning of the movie was so funny. In my opinion, it was fucking hilarious because he's running from this fucking government agency that like doesn't exist, right? He's in a hotel in the beginning where they come after him, and he ends up like escaping only in his boxers, and he ends up making his way into like this elderly couple's house. It's like an older couple with like a grandma there. It was so funny because he comes out of the room and the grandma's like, there's somebody in my room, and he's got a gun, and he's only asking for like some clothes and a few dollars. Okay, like again, this is not necessarily a spoiler to the whole movie. This is just a very funny moment in the beginning. But the next scene after that is I believe the elderly couple is tied up, and the grandma lady there is like fixing them breakfast to eat.
How long do you think you'll be staying? Oh, shut up, Gideon. Let the boy enjoy his breakfast.
Thank you.
What is it they want you for?
A high-level security risk.
Oh man, I love the little tiny humor in the freaking movie like that. I think that's probably the only humor in the movie, to be honest, because it gets pretty buck wild. The movie starts off a little slow, besides the beginning, where it just starts off insane, you know, guns blazing, people are just freaking dying and being shot. And then it just slowly takes its time building the story, because you're kind of left wondering after you watch that opening scene, what the hell did I just watch? But the little humor in the beginning was so spot on, in my opinion. I love that sequence. Another thing I took away from this movie is fucking Brian De Palma is just absolutely amazing with some of these shots and like little tricks that he uses in the movie. For instance, one of the shots I just loved was this like zooming out, like this pull out shot from like somewhere high up of a parking lot. It just looked so cool. But there's like one or two sequences where somebody psychic in the movie has like a vision, but the way that this vision is shot is so cool. It's like the person is seeing it all around them. I don't know. Fuck. Like, dude, it's just so good. That's all I'm gonna say. I loved the way it ended, honestly. Like the very last shot of the movie was just worth the entire movie, in my opinion. It reminds me of Scanners, like almost like Scanners somewhat took this idea, but I don't know. This was such a neat movie. It took like this telekinetic aspect and like this sort of like espionage or conspiracy thing going on. It was a very cool mix.
The Fury.
Read my mind. Look, I don't know anything about reading minds, all right?
The Fury. An experience in terror and suspense.
Alright, there's a spoiler warning because I want to go ahead and talk about some scenes near the end, but I gotta either describe something and it will just give away things. So if you haven't seen this movie, go ahead and check it out. I think you can rent it on YouTube, you can rent it like on Amazon or something like that. In the movie, we have Peter who's looking for his son. Meanwhile, we're also introduced to this other character named Gillian. She's a young girl at a like high school. She's got these psychic powers. I love the introduction to her psychic powers because there's this girl that looks like Jordana Brewster to me, but she's a freaking bitch.
See any ghosts today, Gillian?
And I'm not gonna say she's got what's coming to her, but you know what? This girl needs to back the fuck up. And she's teasing her. Earlier before this, I guess this school of like psychic people came to do an example at this classroom. This is how we're introduced to Gillian and how she ends up, how we find out that she has powers. So later on in the lunchroom, this one girl's making fun of her. Just the one girl.
Read my mind. Look, I don't know anything about reading minds, all right?
And she's like, you know, read my mind. What am I thinking? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, shut up. Mind your, get out of, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the anyways, so, you know, she ends up like reading her mind and she's like, oh, you don't want people to know you're pregnant. And this girl like pops off in the moment that they make like contact, like physical contact with one another, she ends up like spazzing out and like her nose starts bleeding.
Let go.
Tell me.
Cheryl, please let go. Cheryl.
Come on, tell me.
No. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God.
There's also another really great sequence in this movie. But Gillian, at this point, she's in the psychic school for the gifted. Think about like X-Men, if you will. And at this point, it's become apparent to us that, you know, she's not exactly safe there and she has an ally there. But this whole sequence of her escaping the psychic school was so good. She ends up making it out the door, right? And it's practically all done in slow motion. It's really good, I'm telling you guys. As she's running down the street, right behind her is homegirl too, trying to catch up to her. And behind them is, you know, the big bad guys chasing after her on foot in a car. Now, here is where a jaw-dropping moment comes in. It was so out of nowhere. I was like, I should have almost expected it because it's freaking De Palma. Now, as Gillian is being chased, there's a car chasing her and it's about to run into her, where we have Peter out of nowhere just come in and shoot a gun off, shooting the driver right through the forehead. It was so crazy. But then, hold on, the car swerves right when that happens. And it freaking hits the homegirl, and she ends up freaking getting like pushed into another car through a window and dies. And it's so out of nowhere. I'm telling y'all, it was messed up. And it's his fault. Like, it's his fault. Like, if he wouldn't have shot, I mean, he was trying to save the girl, you know, but I don't know. It's crazy. Also, dude, that sequence at the fucking carnival or whatever that was, the fair with the Ferris, whatever that like roller coaster thing was a trip, dude. Absolute trip. And it's crazy because Robin gets triggered from like a traumatic, that incident that happened to him in the beginning, and he sees that group of people that just reminded him of that incident, and he just wants, I don't know, he's all mad about the girl that he's with or whatever, talking to some dudes, and he just takes all his like fury and just hate out on. It was insane, dude. I can imagine, I posted this and people like brought that up. I can imagine watching this as a kid and just being absolutely terrified of going on a roller coaster ever again. This is like some Final Destination 3 shit. Also, I've had a lot of like interruptions throughout this little video. Let's just get this over with. I want to talk about that last moment in the movie. So if you're not familiar with the movie, I don't know, go watch it and then come back. I already put the spoilers up. But at the very end of the movie, It's crazy, dude. It was like, again, jaw-dropping moments when Robin ends up falling from the freaking rooftop because his dad, like, essentially just kind of lets him go because Robin, like, I don't know, he can't see through the hate anymore. There's just so much like fury. I guess that's why the movie's called like that. There's just so much hatred in him. He just can't get past anything no more. It was crazy to see like Robin at the very end become like this like super telekinetic dude flying in the air and shit. That was fucking terrifying. But yeah, and then his dad just says fucking and just kills himself. Like what? That was nuts. But there's like this little look that Robin gives Gillian with the blue eye. They blue eye each other. I don't know. I didn't really understand that part. But that last sequence where that creepy dude, what's his name? Freaking Childress, whatever. The main villain of the guy. He's being super creep. And he's basically like, let me take you under my wing, Gillian. I'm going to be your father. She slowly starts to embrace him and she like kisses him in the eye or something. And he just starts bleeding and he just starts bleeding from the eyes, dude. He like becomes essentially blind and he can't see anything. And then all of a sudden Gillian just goes blue eyes on his ass and he just fucking explodes. And this is one hell of an explosion, dude. I cannot believe I've never seen a GIF of this. Up until I just posted about this movie, I don't think I've ever seen this explosion mentioned anywhere. And unless I'm fucking dumb, I don't know. People always talk about the Scanner's head explosion, the explosion from, what is it, Maniac? Is that the one with the one where like Tom Savini is driving in the car with the chick and the dude comes and blows him with the shotgun? People always talk about those and shit, but dude, I don't know. This is not just a head explosion, by the way. This is an entire body explosion, dude. I am like slowly just becoming a huge Brian De Palma fan. From his techniques that he uses, the way he just tells stories and little like super detailed things. Like, oh man, Dressed to Kill, I still think about that movie. It was so fucking good. It's same with Blowout, dude. Blowout and Dressed to Kill were just insanely good. And I really enjoyed Body Double. I just watched Raising Cain, which I thought was excellent as well. John Lithgow is in that. I don't know, man. Let me know. Just give me some Brian De Palma recommendations, okay? I've seen only like maybe 5+. I've seen some of the bigger ones. I haven't visited them since I was an adult, I think. So like Carlito's Way and Scarface, and I think he did Untouchables. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did Untouchables. I have not seen since I was in my adult life, so it might be pretty cool to revisit those. Anyways, that's just my take on this little neat movie I just finished watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments anything, how you doing. If you think I just ramble on way too much, incoherent, make no fucking sense, let me know some feedback, okay? That's all I ask. Anyways, hit like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Happy Spookies.
You think that when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us.